Hi, and welcome to the WU Online Software Engineering Graduate Program Information Session for today. And I'm glad you're able to take some time to find out about our program, and I think you'll find it to hopefully fit your specific needs and also have some Q&A. We have with us Ann Clayton, mission coach with WU Online, and Ruben Delegado, mission coach as well. You may be able to speak with and set up meetings with in the future if you haven't already spoken with them. And then Aaron Abram, who's a student in the program, and he's going to share with us a little bit later in the program about his experience, and also if you have questions for him, feel free to bring those up. So we'll get started, and we have a full agenda for the next few minutes. Basically want to cover some industry facts in our MSSE program, work and life balance, where we stand in the group of MSSE and similar type programs out there online. Our MSSE alumni, share a little bit about them. And then we'll have our discussion with Aaron some. Also, throughout this process, feel free to use the chat and also the Q&A for being able to share questions and comments that you may have. I'll be glad we can field those with whoever appropriately can answer those. And then graduate student discussion, as I mentioned, we'll talk a little more about the perspective from Aaron's side of the program and allow you to get into the details there. We'll cover courses, faculty, websites, studying on Coursera, which is our platform for the delivery of the courses and the application process, cover some student services available through our W Online, and then program outcomes and career paths, and then some contact information. Let's get started. First off, you may already know or be aware that the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics puts out various data about jobs and positions, and within the software development domain, this current May 2023 data shows that between 77K and 209K is with a median of average of 132K for pay and this particular career. So I would, obviously strongly encourage anyone in this career to be looking, if their pay is not in that area, to be looking to be compensated appropriately for your skills and talents. But you can advance into those numbers if you're not there with this degree. So it also helps you to elevate in your pay area. Also, job security, 4% is the average for all jobs in that job growth. And we're at 17% in this particular industry and jobs area of the next 10 years. For advancement, most of ours students start out in junior type roles or middle software engineering roles, and then move into lead and director and above executive roles down the road. Advancement is why majority of our students come into the program. They found themselves 2 to 3 years or so in software engineering and realize they want to improve on their knowledge in the field and for advancement purposes. Flexibility is available, and we'll talk here in a second about more about flexibility with the program. And we are considered one of the best, number one in overall value. So I'll show you some stats here in a second on that. So Addison is one of our alum who made a statement about our program as being super flexible, has allowed her to further education while being a full-time professional. So it is possible. It's a little bit about her. And we have designed the program for full-time professionals with flexible online format. The most of the work is done asynchronously, and there's ability to plan around your work and family commitments. You know, some of it might require late night, weekends, and so forth, but or early mornings. But it is you're capable of doing so, and the workload is heavy, but not overbearing to the point where you can't achieve it. Well, we wouldn't have any graduates. Your time schedule, is really the ability to work and manage that balance. But evening live classes we have set up so that you can usually schedule to attend those. But if not, we also record those. So where we stand amongst those degrees in the graduate program level for software engineering, we are number one, as I mentioned, the most affordable. So, that's, I translate to best value because we offer a top level quality from a R1 institution, which is a highly ranked institution for higher education here at WVU. And we're number three by another organization in affordable. And then also number 9 in top online computer engineering, number 12 in best online software engineering masters, and 13 in the U.S. News and World Report, which most people are pretty familiar with, and then 21 in another ranking. So we also use Quality Matters as a foundational rubric for our courses and the way for design specifically. 4 courses that were nationally certified, and the majority of our courses have been certified at a university level. So I wanted to share some about our alumni. Unfortunately, was not able to schedule any for attending today's session, but Aaron's very close, so he kind of counts as a student and close to him. But I have here Amanda giving some her input about putting yourself out there and becoming engaged with others in the class. So we do have a lot of engagement in our courses with other students, and that is a big part of our educational part of sharing with other professionals. John DiCarlo is basically mentioned that in his work every day he utilizes the tools and things that for his success. And then Jeremiah McCutcheon also has some interesting comments about our flexibility and the use of Zoom and other just being a part of the Mountaineer culture here, which is also very important to note that we do, even though we're online. As you can see, my background is an important part of West Virginia, and that mountain top there, the Mountaineer, that's actually a real Mountaineer. That's not a superimposed photography snap, but with the flag that he actually was holding. So he climbed that rock, and that's Seneca Rocks, which is a popular area for mountain climbing trails here in West Virginia. Also, you may be interested to know that our alumni come from a variety of industries, still focused in software engineering, but they're not just software development companies. Many are doing work for defense, energy, medicine, education, entertainment, such as Disney, NASA, and so forth, so banking. So you can see a large range. And so that's also the value that you get in this courses as they come together. You get to interact with individuals from these various companies that bring in their insights and ideas. So now I wanted to take a little break from the information, maybe overload that I've just shared with you, and have Aaron talk some. I also have some quick points that I pulled off of student surveys and exit interviews from prior students. But Aaron, if you tell us a little bit about yourself and then your insights into the program as a student.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. So I'm Aaron Ibrahim. I think there's a little bit of a bio here about me. I have been a working software engineer since the year 2000. So I've been at this for a minute. Um, I decided in 2022, well, that's not true. I circled around the software engineering program at WVU. Like I think I emailed Dale in 2017 saying, "Hey, you know, I don't have a STEM undergrad, and how is this going to work?" And he was very gracious in greeting me to the program and telling me more about it, and telling me what my options were. And it was in 2022 that I was like, "All right, you know what? Let's do this." So I signed on in fall 2022. Um, I think I went at it at about 4 courses a year, so I am 8 courses in. So I've got 2 more to go, and then I'll be finishing up in spring of 2025. I've loved the program so far. Very, very compatible with a working lifestyle. I have attended my classes from Cuba, Puerto Rico, Montreal, and Spain, right? So I've lived a life and I've gone on vacations and, I've gotten to still, attend class and, get my homework done. But it was just very, very compatible with me living a life. And that's what I truly came to appreciate about it. Also, came to love the caliber of students that I got to work with in each of my classes, right? Um, on the previous slide, I think you saw Jeremiah McCutcheon. I think he's in his last semester in the program. When you get started, you tend to come across the same people class by class because you're all going at a very similar cadence. So you'll intersect with people and say, "Hey, it's Bob from last semester," and you get to talk, and these are smart people. It's really, really cool. Like it's just, think about your most ambitious coworker that you've ever had in your career, and he's been. These folks that I'm with are very much like these people, right? So, um, fun to have an open and fiery and opinionated exchange about your views of the different topics that we cover. There's such a large breadth of software engineering is huge, right? There's so much to cover, and people will have different strengths in different areas. And for me to, you know, have work on a group project with somebody that's based in California and works for, NASA, that's fantastic, right? I work in retail right now. Well, I have, right? So I was an engineering manager for Victoria's Secret, but also worked for the airlines, and we just all have such a different breadth of experience and a perspective that comes with that. And to kind of exchange that in a marketplace of ideas for each of these classes has probably been one of the most gratifying parts of the program. So, super, super, super big fan of it. And I know that when I came to this session, I had questions that I thought about an hour after I left the session, right? So, don't hesitate to get a hold of the graduate coordinator of Dale after we let out. Go look me up on LinkedIn somewhere, ask me a question, but really get an idea of what the program is and what you're getting yourself into, because I think it's really rewarding, and you would be. It would be in your favor to check it out. I'm a big fan. I see a question that I think I could actually handle. Garrett Cooper asked what these live sessions are like. Sometimes depends on the classes, right? Some classes are 100% asynchronous and your lectures are recorded and you can, see to them at your pace. Sometimes a professor will say, "Hey, I want to meet you all if you're available at 6 p.m. on Thursdays," let's say, right? Um, I can attend that live session, but if my life isn't compatible with that time slot, it's okay because that session is recorded and I can review it after the fact. But sometimes there are times where there are live sessions that accompany classes and you can attend. Um, I feel like I spoke a lot, but if anybody had any questions or something you want to go into, or if a question comes to you later, please don't hesitate to hit up the Q&A. I'll be here for the rest of the session.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Aaron. And I do appreciate you giving your time to be able to share some insights into this and um, give your perspective as a student. I think it's invaluable for students coming in exploring what this program is about. And it's not a small investment by any means, even though we are the most affordable in the nation. It's still certainly important to explore what uh, fits your particular graduate needs. Can you share a little bit about that? Like coming in as a prospective student, what did you look at? What were you thinking for why you selected this?
Absolutely. So this is more particular to me, but I am an English major, right? I have a non-STEM undergrad. My foci in my undergraduate degree was technical writing and visual rhetoric. And something that you would come to find in many of the courses that we'll touch on is that the creation of software is actually a humanistic problem, right? Or it's a humanistic challenge. Um, People make software for other people to use, right? So we have to use this very imprecise method called language to kind of discuss with each other what it is that you need the software to do. How do we go about it? What are the constraints that we're working against, right? All of those sort of discussions. So I've always been a huge advocate of the fact that, if you have a background in the humanities, there's huge applications to take into the software space. Um, Unfortunately, some graduate programs send you away and say, hey, we need you to take these 5 to 8 different bridge courses before you even get started in our graduate program. I don't have that kind of time, right? I can't give you a year and a half before I even get started to take the core courses for a graduate program. So WVU said, hey, look, here is applications programming in Java. Take that, which was a wonderful intro and kind of bumper zone for me to make sure that I'm comfortable and capable to handle the coursework. I did very well with it because I've been a working programmer for 24 years, right? Um, but it was easy to get into the program and then get started right away and start knocking out my core courses, and that's something I really appreciated about it. Um, Also, I learned project management by someone that worked on the International Space Station. Who gets to say that, right? I mean, it's incredible. Um, I, you know, there are so many, there's such a breadth of knowledge in the faculty at WVU, and getting to know all of them has been invaluable. So just looking at the faculty set, that was very attractive. Looking at the breadth of courses and the type of things we would cover, super attractive. And getting to go at my own pace, right? There are some programs that say, hey, you need to get this done in 2 years and it's over. And I think at WVU you have up to 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dale. Um, I have a very busy spring and a very busy summer, so I only took one course. I have a pretty easy fall, so I take 2 courses then, right? But I got to set it all at my own pace, and that was really helpful. So those are all good factors of me coming into it. And also the West Virginia name, right? I think Dale started. This is an R1 research institution. Uh, it's not some tiny college out in the middle of nowhere, right? It's known and recognized, and I want that credential. I absolutely want that name recognition behind to back up all this work that I'm putting into for credential that I get to earn next year.
Yeah, excellent points, Aaron. Thanks. And yeah, we do have the ability to slow down your pace if you need to. You can actually step out for a semester or so if family and life events that happen, and we've had students do that and come back in. Now you have to reapply after 2 years of stepping out, but you have up to 8 years based on university policy to complete the program, which most students don't ever have that. But I have had some students run into that particular, maybe one student in the last 10 years, but most complete within average of 2 to 3 years or 4 or so if they need. Our coursework, and Aaron, you might be able to speak to a few of these to just highlight a couple that you have enjoyed and found a lot of value in for your work. But looking at these, um, our 5 core basically cover the software development life cycle. So we have our software project management, which covers the entire span of the life cycle, the analysis and design, which is your requirements upfront analysis, and then move into object-oriented design, which deals with your design of your product to your aligning to your requirements. Then your V&V, which is the testing of your implementation and your development of the product, and then the software evolution, which is once it's in place and needs updated, revised, and errors, so forth, correction, those areas. And then, of course, we have uh, off of that stems a variety of other topics and builds into more the advanced electives that we offer. And you pick 5 from this group. Usually, we're not right now able to offer a variety of choices. So what you are able to do is basically take, if you just take 2 a semester, take the 2 that's offered each semester, and the summer's one area where there's maybe a choice between 2 different electives. And if you only take 1 course, then it may allow you a different course for elective than you would have had there. So for the most part, each semester you would take 2 and complete in 5 semesters. Any comments on those, Aaron?
I've taken a lot of these. Gosh, I've done everything under the required courses. I just finished up engineering secure software last semester with Dr. Devine. Um, Very, very helpful. It's a really cool thing to watch someone or to learn from someone who's specialized in this particular slice of software engineering, right? Object-oriented design. We talked a lot about you know, domain-driven development and the idea of understanding the organization that you work under and how do you break that down into units that are technological but also speak to the language of the domain, right? Really, really cool. The idea that most work in software engineering is the support and evolution of pre-existing software was handled a lot in 540. So how um, it I think a lot of software engineers like to break into greenfield work, right? But that's not the first thing that you'll usually get. And it's not usually what you'll spend your time in. It's really you have an old legacy code base and you have to support it and extend it. And what are the techniques and learnings? And something that I really took away from a lot of my courses, some of the readings were written in the 60s and 70s, right? These are problems that have existed for a very long time that we still grapple with, right? Um, the idea that there is, I think it's called desiderata, which is someone's ability to um explain, well, okay, yeah, someone's ability, what's inside of somebody's head of what they want the software to be versus how they express it. There's a gap there that you need to, as a software engineer, to engage them to understand what are really the corners that define what it is they want to get done, right? An idea that we talked through in one of my courses was the fogs of software development, and the idea that um what makes software difficult is people are not able to fully articulate everything that they want or tell you everything that they know. And yet, we have to use language to interface with them and then hopefully get that into a format where they understand what you're saying and what you intend to build, right? A lot of that was handled in our coursework. And let's see, project management, getting idea of what my bosses were talking about, right? What the leaders in my organization, how they were thinking about the breakdown of the work to be done and getting it out into the hands of engineers to actually fabricate that software. Um, was an awesome perspective that I had not really thought about, and really felt empowered to actually go into that space if I so choose, right? You can't come out of this being a stronger software engineer. You can also go into the planning and the project management of software engineering. That's another outcome of the coursework, and it's been very, very gratifying and fulfilling. Security was amazing. Dr. Devine, he has in the course of his life just chased down people that are trying to compromise enterprise software systems, right? And the way he speaks about it, it's almost like he's chasing a bad guy. And that was a lot of fun, right? He's like, no, 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 watch for that. And you got to check your logs. And there's just a lot of things that you go into in the course of these in these classes that really give you a unique and really deep perspective that, I hadn't had beforehand. So truly, truly gratifying.
Thanks so much,
Hmm.
Aaron. And you already touched on our faculty. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you can see the breadth and diversity of our faculty, all still within the software engineering industry, but from academia and tenured faculty with advanced research projects to top level executives and chief architects. And chief technology officers throughout the organizations that they work full time in and teach in the program, and as well as top academic institutions that they've earned their degrees from. So you had already touched on that briefly, but certainly if you have something you'd like to share about a specific faculty, feel free to do so. I didn't want to stop stop you there, but any other additional comments on that, Aaron?
No, just that they've been approachable and on my team. You really got that impression when we signed on.
Yeah, thanks. Next is a little bit about how you access us, how do you get to us, how do you apply, and so forth. So Ruben's going to take the first few slides here and cover some of that, and then Ann will come in and address some of the additional things.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Dale. Good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, basically degrees from Coursera, including of course WVU's degree. They're going to be powered by technology that lets you learn on your schedule, like we mentioned, and the device of your choice. Courses can be completed during commutes or short periods of time. And they include supplementary readings, video lectures, assignments, and discussion forums that help you spark connections with other peers. In the screen right now, you're going to see our website. It mirrors the website that WVU has on this degree. And certainly you can go in there and find a lot of information, whether it's going to be information about the degree, you're going to find more in-depth information about the curriculum itself, deadlines, there's going to be information on how to apply, request information. So a lot of wealth of information for you to hopefully make that decision and apply to this degree. We are here to assist you. I work in conjunction with Anne as enrollment coaches. So any questions you have during this process, you're going to have our information. Feel free to contact us to schedule a meeting with us, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. And I think you have another slide. I think the next slide talks a little bit more about, yeah, this is basically on how to study in Coursera. You're going to have lectures, right? These lectures are going to be organized into weekly modules, which can be absorbed via video playback or interactive transcripts. So you're going to be able, again, to pace yourself through the online lectures before meeting with the teaching team, and your classmates to dive deeper into the material. Like Aaron mentioned and like Dale mentioned, it is going to be mobile, so you can access your courses from anywhere. You can even download the videos and readings to your mobile device and study offline without using your data plan. I actually last semester, or maybe 2 semesters ago, had a student who was traveling to Europe, and she actually downloaded a lot of the lectures. So in that trip to Europe, she can kind of catch up and be ready for her next class. In addition to that, you're going to have forums where you'll have regular and ongoing opportunities to interact with fellow students through course discussion forums and get access to every question asked and answered by a previous student. So again, we're going to be Coursera working in conjunction with WVU, the learning platform. It is going to be easy to access for a busy professional like yourself, and we look forward to having you apply to the program.
Excellent. Thanks, Ruben. Any questions on the accessing the websites for information about the program? Also, our previous slide had the dates, application, and so forth to keep in mind for applying for spring. November 11th, December 9th, and 13th.
and we suggest that you apply as soon as possible. So if you're borderline, if you're thinking of applying for next semester, please go ahead and do so. Again, reach out to us. There's going to be a priority deadline and regular deadline. So do reach out. Do be proactive in the process. We're here to assist you, and myself and Dale, with any questions you may have.
Okay, excellent. And since I don't see any, we'll move on to the application process. And you want to go through some of these elements?
Sure. So hi, everyone. Nice to see some familiar names in the participants in the chat. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. A lot of this, I'm sure you've gotten either from myself or Ruben if you've talked with us, but just to kind of go over the prerequisites, you can get through the application through the online.wvu.edu website, and then you would just click on graduate admissions and then software engineering. There's a couple different apply now buttons that you can click and it'll walk you through the application. But once you start that, you're going to want to have a personal statement prepared. Generally, we want to kind of know why this program, why now, how will this help you in your career? What are your career goals? It's really your chance to really advocate for yourself and really show us why this program is going to be meaningful for you and why you're taking this step in your career. So it's wide open to kind of share what you want to share, but it's a good chance, like I said, for you to advocate for yourself. We do require 2 references. One of them has to be employment. The other one can be employment. It can be academic, whoever you feel knows you the best. It can speak to your skills the best. Either is fine. This sometimes is the stuck point because we ask for their name and contact information, and then we reach out to them with what we're looking for. So as Ruben mentioned, if you can start that application process earlier, because this one's out of your control. You can't control when people are going to respond. And a lot of times we get people that say, oh yeah, I'm happy to write a letter. And then weeks go by, oh, I'm going to write it. So as Ruben mentioned, I think that's great advice. If you can start the application early and at least get the references part submitted, that will help save you some time down the line. International students must meet our language proficiency. So there is the link there, and it'll link you to the international student webpage. And there's a lot of good information there about the international students and the language and who gets waived and who doesn't and all the good things. So you can definitely click on that. We require your undergraduate transcripts from every institution that you attended. To apply to the program, we can use your unofficial transcripts. Once you're accepted, we would need your official transcripts sent with a 3.0 GPA or higher. For a standard admission, it would need to be in a computer science, computer engineering, software engineering, or related field. And then if you don't have a degree in that area, we're going to talk about that in a second. We'll do a provisional graduate status admit, but have at least your unofficial transcript sent initially. You can submit your GREs if you've taken them for another program if they require them. We don't require them, but if you think that's something that will help you in the admission process and you already have them taken, we're happy to take a look at those. And then a resume that reflects both your education and your work experience. And then that's really it. You can follow your application through your portal. You can reach out to myself or Ruben. I get a lot of questions, hey, it still says in progress, can you tell me what I'm missing? And I'll say, oh, John Smith didn't send in your letter of recommendation. Could you follow up with him? So I'm happy to do that as well for any of you just to kind of check, but you should be able to follow it through your portal. And then generally this program is pretty quick. Within 2 to 4 weeks after you submit all of your materials, you should get an answer. And then after that, you'll get more information from myself and Ruben about orientations and your next steps and meeting with your advisor. And then it kind of snowballs and goes pretty quickly from there. But that's really in a nutshell, the questions for the standard admission. And then again, if you don't have a degree in one of those fields that I mentioned, we can give you a provisional acceptance. All the other criteria remains. And then you would just need to take the SENG 505 programming applications with Java and earn a B or above. And then that will kind of, then once you take that, and then you need, I believe, 2 other courses, and then you would be given a full admission to the program. Anything?
Yeah, thanks, Ann. I thought since Aaron had gone through as a prospective student and then a student that was admitted, any complications or problems that you can share that might help them get over some humps as they
I,
go through this process?
I would love to speak to the stigma that is the provisional student. I don't know if anybody feels they hear that word provisional, like, oh, I'm not allowed it. I was a provisional student, right? I have an English undergrad, non-STEM, and I had to take programming applications and Java to get started. I'm currently hold a 4.0 in the program, and I am two courses out from completion. So it's very approachable and attainable, and you shouldn't let that hold you back from applying. Um, Other things, no, it's the admissions program is, or the admissions portal, very straightforward, right? You'll get a link, and you go in and you say, okay, here is my personal statement, and there's a link for your reviewer or your recommenders to submit their recommendations for you, and it's all pretty straightforward. I found it to be very easy.
Ann, would you like to go ahead and cover the student service online
Sure.
product?
So yeah, this is a question we get a lot. Being an online program, but with a brick and mortar school, we get questions like, can I go to football games or things like that? And that answer is unfortunately no. You can't go to the sporting events, which stinks because West Virginia does have a lot of really good things, which you're welcome to go to as a fan. But there are some things that you still have access to as an online student. So accessibility services, if you feel like something that you need, it can be a permanent disability, it can be a temporary disability, but if you need things like interpreting services or transcriptions for your classes, or captioning if it is a live lecture, or testing accommodations, they can certainly work with you about any of those and access those and give you what will be helpful for you to get through the program. There is tutoring throughout the program. They do have online tutoring. So if you're struggling with writing a paper or you're struggling in a certain class, you can reach out to the tutoring center, and they can certainly set up either a virtual appointment with you or a phone appointment, and they can work through and help kind of get you through what you need help with, and kind of access whatever you may need there. With the mental health services, we use a program called Talkspace. And within this program, you would get 2 virtual sessions a month with a licensed therapist. You don't need to give any insurance information or anything like that. It is free to students. You just need your Mix WVU email is all you would need to access that. You can text in to your counselor, you can email them, you can do phone appointments with them, but you do get 2 virtual sessions a month, which is really nice because sometimes with the demands of life and school and work and all the things, you can start to feel a little overwhelmed. So definitely use that service if that's something that you feel would be helpful, or the anxiety that comes with going back to school, all the things. They're a great resource. The IT desk, as you guys know, being in software engineering and IT, they're wonderful. They can walk you through things. If you can't get into your portal, if you can't get into your eCampus, give them a call and they'll happily look at what's going on and kind of get you set from there. The library services. I always laugh at this one. I don't know, does anyone use libraries anymore? When I was in college, like, you had to get to the library early. But you can still access digital articles or things like that. If you wanted a good old-fashioned book, they will mail that to you if that's something that you need for one of your courses. But there's definitely articles and programs that you can access through there that are really nice. Portfolium is something that I think is really unique, and I encourage a lot of students to kind of create. It's basically an e-portfolio. You could save your resume in there. You could save a presentation that you did. any samples of projects or anything that you've done. You can list your coursework in there. You can add pictures or videos. It's kind of just your e-portfolio of everything you've done, either academically or professionally, or a combination of both. And it's just a nice catch-all to kind of keep everything organized, so that when you do go to look for jobs or promoted, you have it all in one spot. And you could say, hey, this is, you know, a list of all the things I've done and examples of my work. Mountaineer card, you can get one if you want one. I don't know that it does much anymore, but it's sometimes nice to just have the little card showing that you are a Mountaineer, and that you are part of the West Virginia family. So that's something that Link will walk you through, and they'll mail it out to you. And so sometimes it's just a nice little thing to have. Student Lingo is another thing that I really like. They have just really brief 20-minute sessions on any topic that you could think you might need help with. So how to communicate effectively online, how to take tests better, how to have better time management now that you're in an online program. Really anything that you think you might need to help you be more successful. I think there's over 50 different topics that you can sign up and go to these sessions, and they are really helpful. And again, you just need your WVU email to sign up for those. So there's nothing intensive or anything like that. Career Services is the next one. They're fantastic. Again, I encourage a lot of students to use the Career Services. They can help you with your resume or your cover letter or interviewing. Sometimes we get stuck on those hard questions. We're not sure how to answer. Career Services has a great, you know, option to walk you through those questions. There is a job search network there we call Handshake. So if you're looking for a job, sometimes there are leads posted through there that you can go. And one thing that I like that they've started recently is elevator pitches. Right in this world of technology where our attention span is about 30 seconds. Sometimes if you're in an elevator, if you run into somebody in the cafeteria, what are you going to say with those 30 seconds or that minute that you have that person's attention? So those are really good. They can help you fine tune what's your highlight reel. What do you want to make sure somebody knows when they leave that conversation with you? So Career Services is amazing. And then the alumni as well, we encourage you to join the social media groups and the networking, and there can be a nice, good family that you're always connected to the WVU community. And again, like Erin mentioned, we've had other students that have gotten jobs from communicating with each other through LinkedIn and through different platforms. So we definitely encourage you to be involved, not only with your classmates, but also with the alumni community once you graduate, because you know, the old tagline, once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer, and they do like to take care of each other. So it's a good network. Anything, Dale, you want to add to that, or?
Yeah, excellent. Aaron, did you have any experience with like the W library? I know we use IEEE doc standards a lot in our courses, and some of our material, a lot of it saves our students money by referencing those accessible points for the student.
For sure. Let's see, as part of WVU Library, I know that we get access to O'Reilly Online Learning, that's formerly called Safari. So every book that O'Reilly Publishing has ever put out, you have access to, which, and additionally, like videos and quick tutorials, you know, that's been a fantastic resource. Every time I've been assigned a paper to read, IEEE is very often referenced, but there's also a lot of very foundational papers in software engineering that have just existed for, like, I think I mentioned the 60s and 70s, right? If you go to Google Scholar and you search for the paper that you want, and then you just opt to log in through a library, WV Library gets you right in. It's no problem. So I've had access to a wealth of different resources through the libraries, and there's been very little that I've had to look outside for, you know, to get my work done, or, you know, to research further topics. It's been very, very comprehensive.
Thanks, that's excellent.
Mhm.
And also our technical support is for our systems, which would be like admission. There was a question out there. I responded by typing the answer, but you know, admissions, registration, looking at your, you know, grades recorded on the transcript, type, ordering the transcript after graduating, those types of services will be, but all the Coursera platform for the coursework and all that, and of course your immediate grades and feedback is all through Coursera system. And so there you'll use still your student email to access Coursera. However, technical issues that might come up or arise there, you would use the support through that process. So it's both are very responsive and very quick to respond. The kind of next to the last slide is really, once you're through this process, what's your expected outcomes? And these are the top 6 that we've identified from the academically what the student carries out, but as opposed to me elaborating on them. Aaron, would you care to conjecture as to, do you feel that the program, since you're close to the end of it, has delivered to you these items here to carry on in your career?
Very much so. Yeah, it's really cool to leave here and engage either through other coworkers or interviewing for jobs with a very similar language construct around the charting, planning, execution, and support of software. Right? We've read a lot of formative texts that talk you through, and these are things that a lot of other software engineers in the field have engaged with. And when you get to this lingua franca about this is how I view the description, deconstruction, and execution of this software product, I've gotten a lot of reception, a positive reception to that, and been recognized for how much more advanced I am speaking to these different parts of it. Right? It's been super, super helpful. As far as career pathways, I have been a junior developer, a tester, a senior engineer, a technical lead. I've also been an engineering manager, right? So I've held a lot of these positions in the course of my career. Um, and I've been incredibly helped by the work that I've done through West Virginia University. And I'm really excited, to be near the end of my program and kind of employ that out in the real world. Would highly encourage you to consider it if you're on the fence.
Excellent points. And yeah, addressing the career paths, I've through my career and industry background, I've had the opportunity to hire various individuals and encourage them to earn their additional degrees and certifications and so forth. And this is two of the common, it's not the only pathways that exist, but these are general titles and steps that usually you see. Usually you find yourself, as Aaron mentioned, he has found his steps in more the engineering pathway. Myself, I actually followed more the analyst side and through the project management pathway until coming into academia, although I've been teaching in academia throughout my career. So yeah, and we actually have someone who just recently graduated and found a promotion to VP of business analyst. And it was just a couple of years ago, and he was spotlighted, was John DeCarlos on the previous slide, and also mentioned on one of the previous slides of our alumni. He, right after earning his degree, put out his resume and received a job. He works in Pittsburgh with Amazon as a senior technical director there. So there is a lot of advancement that's seen through this program from our students. And the last thing is to really tell you how to reach out to us if you haven't already. You can schedule virtual sessions with either Ann or Ruben, and don't want to close out without giving a last opportunity for any questions that you might have through the chat or Q&A feature. on this webinar. Any further comments, Ann or Ruben, care to share about the admissions and reaching out to you for questions and so forth?
Yeah, thank you, Dale. Yeah, we want to, we're accessible. Please reach out to us if you haven't. If you had, great. We'll stay in touch with you. Again, remind you that for the spring 2025 priority deadline is going to be November 11th. If you're not able to apply by then, no big deal. The final application deadline for the spring 2025 term is going to be December 9th, with classes starting January 13th. So again, we look forward to speaking to you, and we appreciate your time.
Yeah, and reiterating, the sooner the better in applying. So that sometimes transcripts take a little bit of time to get from your academic institution over to ours, and that official one is required, even though you can submit an unofficial one when you apply. That's valuable to help expedite our review. However, it's important to get the official one ordered as soon as possible, as well as any reference submissions that you make for contacting. Thanks everyone for attending. I want to especially thank Aaron for coming in on his own. He volunteered for this. He did not get paid. We did not give him any script on what to say. This, I mean, he could have said, other things as well. I had no control over that. I wanted it to be that way. Wanting to be, fairly representing of our program. But what you heard was from him. And I did not screen. I sent it out to all of our students asking who would be interested in participating. So just so you know, this is the real thing. And I do appreciate your time. We do pride ourselves in being transparent and being open and sharing everything we can about the program so that you know what you're getting into and where you're headed for your career, and we can make it a success for you. So thank you again, and have a great time, and hope to see you in class sometime in the near future. I do see a couple QAs here. Is there a thesis or final project aspect of the program? There is not. There's 30 hours, 10 courses, 3 hours each. And there is one option that we have just for allowing some flexibility, which is an independent study. I don't really advertise it just because if somebody gets stuck in their last semester because they've come in and out and they've already taken some of the classes, we do have a flexible course there. But that's not a part of a project, but there are several projects in the courses. Would you say this program's geared toward moving folks higher on the business analyst side, the technical side, as a developer, or both? I would say both. I've actually seen the advancement on both ends. And it's really provides, I think, a balance on both ends, as Aaron kind of presented as well, that, he, having taken some of the courses, could easily step over into the project management world if he wanted to now, and feel pretty comfortable in taking those roles. Are there any scholarships and financial support available? Academically, actually, Ruben, you want to address some of that?
Yeah. So there are student loans available to WVU online students. I did put in here, you submit your FAFSA and certainly look into that. Also, if you are a veteran, eligible for military benefits, you can learn more about that. I can put that in there. But certainly, I just put in there a website, and certainly we encourage you to go in there and take a look at all the resources available.
Excellent. So thanks again, and hope you look to Ann or Ruben in the near future to talk to. And if you have questions for Aaron, please send them my way, and we'll be glad to get or you can find him on LinkedIn as he'd offered, and connect up with him there. Thanks again, and again thank our panelists for attending and presenting valuable information about this program. See you all later, and have a great day.
Thanks all.